here on Lagging Out with Stream of Consciousness featuring the Mariner. And yes, it's Hiro with glasses today.
Ahoy, Lagging Out Legion, 'tis I, the Mariner, and ahoy Twitch, ahoy YouTube, ahoy Rumble.
Yes.
For those of us on Rumble, I forgot to get my Rumble up. That's right, Mojo was going to copy and paste if stuff was going to, if anyone's in there. I almost forgot that. All right, there we go. There's the Twitch lagging out. So now I can bring up L chat box. And I can pop it up and I can display it where I can see it. Woohoo! And no, I'm not knocking. Go away, knock. I can't knock.
I know, right?
Oh, I need to have this on the I need to have this over here so that you guys can see me and I don't look like I'm looking off wherever. But anyways, yes. Last time, Hiro had started on the Zelda timeline.
I sure had. We're right about where we left off. If you give me a moment, I can jump on that. I need to get all of our stuff up because I hadn't quite gotten logged into all of the Lagging Out chats yet.
And hello, Hot Smiles 2000 on Twitch, on Lagging Out to Twitch.
Hi, Mojo.
There's Mojo, of course. Let's see, who am I leaving anyone out yet? Nope, okay. So, anyways, just to kind of recap, last week we ended up pursuing the official Zelda timeline up to the point where we had to decide whether the hero is defeated. Not hero as in hero, but the hero, Link, is defeated or triumphant against whatever big bad it was. What was the guy's name again, Hiro?
Well, that's one of those things. The big bad of each game. Sometimes it's Ganondorf. Sometimes it's the evil wizard Vati. Sometimes it's Demise, the source of evil in that world. Ultimately, at the end of Skyward Sword, which is the canonical beginning of the franchise, in timeline, Demise is the source of all evil in Hyrule, and he basically curses the goddess and Link to continuously be reborn to do battle with him over and over again. So,
Curses.
Yes. So the big bad is Demise, just named something different from game to game.
And it does look like my screen capture of your share screen is legible. It's a good thing I moved it over to a different window, a different screen. Because I was like, the capture of the itty bitty screen is not going to be legible.
All right. So. All right. So
anyways,
popping out Rumble.
So yeah, I can't do anything to manipulate what's being seen on the screen in the desk, info desk right now. That's Hiro.
Actually, do you have, and I'm nitpicking, I know you're techie, but sometimes we point something out to each other and it works better. Do you have that screen capture clicked so that it's big in our chat where we are?
If I do that, then I lose you.
You can,
because I've dialed you in.
Oh, you dialed it in on me.
No, I've got two different window captures in OBS. One is for you on your camera where the position in Discord is. One for your screen share. And if I click on the screen share to make it big, you go small and I'll have to start over again.
See, I intentionally made the bigger screen capture to be the info desk and captured you small. So you are a little pixelated on the Lagging Out side.
That's why I'm fuzzy. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you'll know for next time. If you want to see me in clarity, which I don't know why you would, you can head over to the Deep Dive Gaming channel.
Give yourself some more credit than that.
But yeah, so we are ready to resume. I think depends on if
Believe
Hero's got
so.
everything dialed in.
I've got everything dialed in. I've got all my chats up. It's going to be hit or miss whether I'm able to respond. Why did that happen? Oh, it's Kick being. Yeah, it's Kick being Kick. Never mind. Okay. Yep. I'm dialed in on everything.
Cool. So proceed with the timeline, if you would, sir.
Yes, sir. So we've got an option. Do we want to go for the hero defeated timeline or the hero triumphant timeline?
Mm, let's go with the defeated, and let's chat decides they want to throw in the comments on which way we should go.
So, interestingly, there is the hero defeated. Oh my. Oh my. I ooh, did not realize.
This seems a little. It seems it's a longer chain of events after the hero gets defeated than if he's victorious.
There's like one or two more games in the defeated timeline than there are in the combined triumphant timelines, because there are two branches from the triumphant timeline.
Did you get kick working or no? Mojo's asking in your chat.
I did not. It's because I have to relog in on the Streamlabs to the lagging out uh stuff.
Okay, so yes, Mojo, you can leave kick alone. You can kick,
That's
kick
right.
out, kick the kick.
So we got a bunch of stuff down here if we even get to that point. I don't think we will. Um so file words are hard already.
Hello,
Following
hello.
following the defeat of Link in the future. So how it's how it's worded on the timeline here, I don't really care for it because it's actually technically vague. Um, Originally, it was technically vague in the official timeline. And as you can see, I've pulled this.
Hmm.
Well, no, you can't see on my screen, but I pulled this straight from the Nintendo website. So this is technically canon. But in the original publication of the Hyrule Historia, where it publishes the timeline, it doesn't actually say the hero is defeated. It actually says he never appears. So when Link pulls the Master Sword from the pedestal in Ocarina of Time, the Master Sword, the magic of the Master Sword, well, technically the reforged Goddess Sword, if you follow what happened in Skyward Sword, that the magic of that sword could tell that he was too small slash too young to actually wield the full sized Master Sword. So it sealed him away in the sacred realm for 7 years. And due to weird time mechanics, or as some Doctor Who fans would say, some weird timey-wimey stuff.
Yeah,
I've heard that phrase a bunch from some of my friends that watch Doctor Who or did watch Doctor Who. But yeah, some weird
rip.
timey-wimey stuff. You create a time paradox, or in some sci-fi stuff, you'll create branches of timelines. So in one timeline, or in the timeline that continues on when he pulls the Master Sword out and his spirit or his body gets sealed away in the sacred realm, that means that that timeline will continue and effectively Link just disappears. So if Link disappears, that's the way they explained in the original publication that Link just disappeared and never showed up. And in that would be this timeline that we see right here. And then
Whoops.
you have another. timeline down here where it branches to the child and the adult era, which we'll address that later. But
Mhm.
because there's a bunch of other shenanigans there. So in this, the timeline continues. Again, it's a little debated whether Link is defeated slash killed or if he just never showed up. Basically, if Link never showed up in Ocarina of Time, it would fall to Zelda to find a way to fight back against Ganondorf and defeat him, which is what brings about the imprisoning war.
I'm going to step away for just a second. Keep going.
Sure. In that, following the imprisoning war, Ganondorf or Ganon is defeated and imprisoned or killed, which is what leads to the resurrection of Ganon. But if, well, in A Link to the Past, the imprisoning war is basically described in multiple games and multiple points in time. You'll read about it in different lore drops in the games. The imprisoning war actually predicates Ganondorf or Ganon being sealed away in the sacred realm, and him being sealed away in the sacred realm actually corrupts it to make it the evil realm or the realm of dark or the dark realm. And in some games it's called the Twilight realm. So moving that, put a pin in that because that'll actually come back. Then comes A Link to the Past, where Ganondorf or Ganon resurrects. I feel like that's a little misleading. That is actually Ganondorf breaking free of the Twilight realm or the Dark realm. In this game, Link is awakened by a telepathic message from Princess Zelda. She's been locked in the depths of Hyrule Castle by Aghanim, an evil wizard. See, I told you there's a different name for every big bad in these games, just about. The original name would be Vati, or the original evil wizard is Vati. So there's always some evil wizard somewhere that's trying to work to revive Ganondorf or Ganon, who is, again, the reborn demise. Excuse me. So after that game takes place, you jump over to Link's Awakening, where where Link is stranded on an island, and he has to search for a bunch of musical instruments that'll help him escape. What happens at the end? Is it Link's Awakening? I'm trying to remember because there's so many of these games, I get them mixed up easily based on each name. I think it's Link's Awakening. Yes, that giant egg in the background reminds me. Yes. Link's Awakening is a dream, effectively. There was a Link's on a ship or a boat. Big storm blows through, wrecks his ship, and he washes up on an island. Come to find out, that island wasn't real, and he wakes up on a floating piece of his ship and realizes that he just had this big dream where he saved the
Did
world.
they ever did they ever say why he's out on the ship in the middle of the storm?
Nope, never really clarified. And in fact, it's actually, the game is fun. I played the heck out of it, played it back to back. I loved it. But functionally, when it comes to lore and doing anything at all in the world of Hyrule or Zelda, it's almost, I don't want to say it, but it's almost pointless because
Yeah.
it's just this big dream.
Yeah, there's no lessons to be taken from it. There's no impact from it on other games. It's very It's a standalone. Wasn't it the first Game Boy game?
I yes, it was one of the first
There
Game Boy
were a few Game
games.
Boy games, but yeah, that was. I think it
Yeah,
was the first one. It was the first one I ever played. Many
it's
times, also.
it was one of the first Game Boy games, but when it comes to
I wasn't
Zelda,
saying of all time. I'm just saying one of the first Zelda games.
but when it comes to Zelda, it was one of the very first Game Boy games that in the franchise of Zelda, or it was the first in Zelda's franchise on Game Boy. There we go. That's a better way to say it.
It's all about the phraseology.
Yes, words matter. You don't say it right, somebody somewhere's gonna piss and moan.
Yeah.
Anyways, going forward, this is one of the few games, and I mentioned this, I think we had a couple of this same game type that well, was this?
Can you scroll
No.
up just a tiny bit to show the artwork above?
Sure, sure.
There we go. It
This
was
right here is one of the first, if not the first game where it was the story takes place on two different games. In order to complete the story, you had to play both games.
done.
Which, yeah, see, okay, in the same manner that the Pokemon series did their stuff. You can't get all of the
Mm,
Pokemon on this game. You have to play the other game or trade with somebody with the other game in order to get all the Pokemon kind of thing. Um,
well, it's more important than that. Like you just said, you can't complete the story, or you can, but you can't. Like the order, I guess, doesn't really matter as to which one you play first.
it's
But
yeah,
there's like they're not two separate stories; they're one interconnected.
it's one interconnected story, but actually, if I
I think you do.
understood or remember correctly, in order to receive all of the lore that's in it, you would have to play both of them. But the game itself
Yeah.
is complete. So it was complex. It really was. And for the sake of
Interdimensional timey wimey.
yeah, and for the sake of trying to keep up with the chats, I'm jumping over here. So he wasn't really awake then. Thank you, Mojo.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, it's from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint. It's more like a big ball of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. That's the entire quote. It's been bugging me that I couldn't remember the whole thing.
Well, neither could I, so sorry, I'm adjusting where all my chats are so that I can pay attention to them live. Anyways, there's the yeah. Here you go. The synopsis here is Link is summoned to Hyrule Castle by the Triforce itself, beginning a parallel set of thrilling adventures. So, to clarify a little bit further, you have a different set of dungeons on each cartridge, and each one has a different set of lore relating to each dungeon. That makes sense. So in this
Yes.
one, you see I'm assuming that this character right here on one side of Link represents well, that's the spiritual stone of water, which is associated with Nehru, the goddess of wisdom, or the Triforce component, wisdom. And then here, this character would be associated with fire just by looking at her, or the spiritual stone of fire, or the Triforce component power, or Din, the goddess of fire. Then you have the spirit stone right here, I'm assuming that's this character. I don't recognize them. And then you have wind or forest or Feror. So, so in this one you have
Lots
three.
of lore just in those pictures.
Yeah, if you have three stone or yeah three stones, which I'm assuming means three temples. Then you have four stones, and I'm assuming four temples. So
We can deep dive into that in a future episode. We should probably keep going here.
oh yeah. I've played this game specifically, A Link Between Worlds. The, the synopsis doesn't do it any justice. A Link Between Worlds was a remake of another game, A Link to the Past. I think it was a remake of A Link to the Past. However, we have both games on this timeline, so I don't understand this one. Specifically, this game is fantastic. I actually going to look it up while I'm explaining it. Um, what happens in this game is Link's wandering through the forest and happens upon basically a mugging is what it amounts to. There's this villain named Yuga, and you walk up on him, and he is in the process of turning somebody into a wall painting using his magic, and Link charges in to try and save the person, and Yuga goes, "Ha, not today! Quit trying to be a hero," and then turns Link into a painting. Before he runs into this guy, he runs into this random salesman that's dressed up in a full blown rabbit costume, covering his face and everything. And this character says, "Here, have this bracelet. With this bracelet, I'll recognize you as one of my repeat customers and I'll cut you deals on sales for my stuff." And he slaps it on Link's wrist, and Link's just like, "The hell? Who are you?" And then the guy just runs off. And then he
He's
bumps
apparently
into,
late.
yeah. And then Link bumps into Yuga and tries to save the day, or tries to save this helpless villager who escapes in the scuffle. And then Yuga just goes, bloop, "You're now a painting." And he seals to a wall. And after Yuga leaves the scene and all the bad guys leave the scene, the bracelet reacts to the magic. And then suddenly Link is like, huh? And he's a painting on the wall that can move around on the wall like it's another plane of existence. And then you solve a puzzle, and then suddenly Link can jump off the wall and become three-dimensional again. But that's the premise, the gameplay and premise. And other than that, a lot of the hold on, A Link Between Worlds. Okay, they clarified. It used to be that they were saying that A Link Between Worlds is a full blown remake to A Link to the Past. It's actually a successor. It features a similar Hyrule overworld. Okay, so it uses basically the same overworld map, but has a bunch of new elements, like I just explained, the turning into a painting element. There's a bunch of puzzles associated with that. Basically, it's the same. It would be like, uh, hmm. Have you played Ocarina of Time?
I feel like I have, but at the same time, I don't remember anything about it. I have a trouble like keeping Ocarina of Time separate from seasons and ages, so I can't remember if I
Okay.
specifically played that game or not.
Okay, well, I'm going to rewind and go back to one that's near and dear to your heart, A Link to the Past. It literally took the overworld, the entire map of A Link to the Past, duplicated it, put it in a semi 3D environment, and then created a new story surrounding that map. So it's the same map, a lot of all the same locations, a couple of different characters, whole new gameplay mechanic, and a new story, which I'm not mad at. Some people look at it and go, "Oh, it's not the same. It's not the original. I'd rather just have the original." No, 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 no. This is a separate story, and I thought it was a one-to-one remake of the game originally. That said, fun game. I played the heck out of it when it came out. So we're gonna fast forward from A Link Between Worlds, and we can jump into Triforce Heroes, which I don't know. I never played this game. I know they're the main, and I'm a huge fan of Zelda games. Don't get me wrong, but I did not. I was not from a rich family. I'll get it. I get it. I wasn't from a poor family, but I was not given the opportunity to get all of the games. So this game, oh, this is different. This is different altogether. Three heroes must unite to take on a witch known as the Lady, who has cast a curse upon the princess of Hytopia. So Nintendo has taken the initiative here and there to, how do you say, they've taken on the initiative to rename places and things.
This reminds me of the meme, the Spider-Man meme.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So keep in mind, Triforce Heroes, it's unique in that you control all three heroes at the same time, if I remember correctly. Um, I don't know how
Mojo says the
else.
only Zelda game I've ever been able to play was Legend of Zelda Gold. The only one she ever owned.
That was Mojo.
Yeah.
Ah,
I was having fun for a while on Nintendo Switch. Going back and like the Nintendo Online thing. Ahoy, Gazoo!
what up, Gazoo?
Where
It's
I
good to
could
see you, brother.
where I could play some of the older Zelda games. I think I got through Link's Awakening and then was looking at the next one and was like, the Nintendo 64 Zelda game threw me off because it was, I don't
Really?
know what it is. I could never. I've tried a couple of different N64 games where it's like third person and you've got the world around you and you got to navigate. I it was too different from my experience with Zelda with other Zelda games, so I couldn't get it. I mean, if it had been like the Game Boy games, it would have been fine. But because it went 3D, I'm like, my brain is not processing this properly.
I get it. I get it. Let's see. This one was on the 3DS. Multiplayer campaign. Okay, so it was a multiplayer campaign. So Four Swords and Four Swords Adventures is tied to this, or it is tied to that. Uh, Three players required to play using wireless and online connectivity. So you didn't just have to be next to somebody, playing with a friend. You could play with people online. which made it better because the other versions I think you were required to use Game Link to play. Yes, Four Swords and Four Swords Adventures required the link cables. Has a stronger emphasis on cooperation rather than competition. Same incarnate from the aforementioned. Okay, so this is the same version of Link from A Link Between Worlds. So he continues his adventure with two other Links. Wow.
So
Wow,
does this people would have to get along? Nonsense.
wow. Okay, so we're gonna dive into that probably later. I don't know if we're gonna go about it the same way we did Final Fantasy, because there's significantly more games in this than in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, we could work out how to do it. We may end up having to do a timeline or something, or like doing a episode guide or something just for ourselves
Yeah,
because it's not. It doesn't look like it's exactly linear.
it is not linear. And literally the game that you struggled getting into is the game that causes the split. Or causes the non-linearity.
Yeah,
Singularity?
duality.
Perfect.
But yeah, so the next one on the list are.
Okay, yeah, we'll jump to the next one. This is actually one that I am currently playing. I say currently, that's not entirely true. I haven't played it in 2 or 3 months. I need to pick it back up and go back to playing it. But Echoes of Wisdom. This game just came is the most recent installment in the Zelda franchise. I should say most recent full game installment because I think they also just released another Hyrule Warriors, which is a Dynasty Warriors clone, but it's themed Zelda. But this when this game came out, a lot of people were screaming in rage because the game follows Princess Zelda as opposed to Link. the the controversy. Okay, look, I get it. The controversy. We've heard enough about girl bosses in games that oh, the girl is just a Mary Sue. Blah, 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 blah. No, this is Princess Zelda. She's never been a Mary Sue. um, it follows Princess Zelda as the main character. But Link is heavily featured in the game as a driving factor or as a factor to drive the story forward. Uh, Basically, the game starts off and you pick up as Link, you charge into this dungeon, and there's this giant pig lord that I presume is one form of Ganon or another. Actually, it's probably the same character model as the original big bad of Zelda. If you look at him in the background here, that's him. That's the original depiction of Ganon. And you play as Link. He charges into the dungeon. You make your way through the dungeon, clearing out bad guys and fighting your way through with this awesome sword, which originally I thought was the Master Sword. It is not the Master Sword. It is another really awesome sword. Um, don't remember. I think it's called the Hero Sword. And you charge
So
through.
they're trying to bait you on the Twitch chat, by the way.
Uh-oh, he's trying to bait me. There is no baiting me. He is the master of baiting. What is your favorite game? Hmm. But there's a reason why we have mods that are watching the chat. Wow. Trying
While
to
he's
yell
looking at
at
that, I'll comment that they did a Link's Awakening remake in the same style as this. I can't remember which came first, this or the remake of Link's Awakening, but it's the same character artwork and style.
it's the it's actually a Link Between Worlds is that game. The remake of Link's Awakening. It's
Really, because I thought there was an actual Link's Awakening remake.
there it would have been it was a re-release. I think it might have been the same as because if you go here, yep, that's exactly it. It's Link's Awakening DX.
No, I'm thinking there's yet one still. Let me look it up.
Wait, I take that back. I take that back. I take that back. Link's Awakening DX, I believe, is the re-release of it. But when I said A Link
Mm,
Between Worlds, A Link to the Past, I'm sorry, A Link Between Worlds is technically a remake of A Link to the Past. Anyways, let me get back
I'm
to
gonna
this.
send you a link
Mm,
somehow.
people would have to get along nonsense. Calling me a
There's
noob.
no getting along.
I never look at chat. In fairness, when I'm talking, I don't.
So
You
here,
talk,
I'm
and Mojo,
sending.
you
Come
talk
on,
smack
Discord, open up.
anyways.
Careful. But I'm sending you a link. This is what I refer to.
Okay, let me go back here. Beep, beep, beep. Oh, yeah. Yep. That's, if I look to minimize that. Brain fart.
What is that word, Mojo? Get a little Snoopy?
Snippy. Hmm.
Nope, it says Snoopy.
Mm.
Oh, thanks, Kazoo. It's a good job on the screen format. Winry
What
did
up,
that for
Winry?
us.
Oh, I thought you said she was
Nope.
here.
Nope, I put an awkward
Oh,
pause.
okay. So how that happened was Link's Awakening released on the Game Boy, and then they re-released it on the Game Boy Color. That's when they added the DX to it. And then when the Nintendo store or the Nintendo shop slash store started for Switch, I think that's when they did that new remake that is sitting there that you sent me.
Ah,
That's if I'm following it correctly.
I think you are.
Anyways, Red Baron. I love me some
Anyways,
nuts. Anyways, I got a good job on this format. Snoopy, what? As in snoop through people's stuff. Okay. And then she spits out Red Baron. Anyways, get out of that. Anyways, Echoes of Wisdom, literally the story kind of, and I haven't finished it, so I don't know the whole story. But the story begins, you play as Link, he charges through the dungeon, he does battle against this new form of Ganon, and then as he defeats Ganon, and then Ganon goes back to the Twilight Realm or whatever, the Shadow Realm, and then springs a trap on Link, sending Link to the Shadow Realm as well. And then Zelda breaks free, or well, actually, right before he gets sucked all the way into the Shadow Realm, Link busts out his hero's bow and then shoots an arrow that at the cage that's holding her and breaks it as he falls through. So she breaks free and she goes to try and grab him to pull him out of the shadow, and he falls through all the way. She's too late. So she rushes back to the castle to tell her father what happened, and then some weird bait and switch happens after she tells him. He's like, well, we got to go save them. And she rushes off, leading some soldiers to go find and rescue him. And they don't find him. So she turns back around. And when she comes back, something weird's happening. And her dad is like, you're a traitor. And then throws her in jail. And that's the beginning of Echoes of Wisdom right there. You start as Zelda and you have to escape prison. Which, by the way, playing as Zelda is not new. There was once upon a time in a game that never existed, a game that centered around playing as Princess Zelda and saving Link. But that game never existed. I'm saying that tongue in cheek, pretending that I refuse to acknowledge it exists. There was a series of 2 or 3 games that were released on a CDI format back in the days of old school point and click adventure games on PC. On what was it? Was it the Commodore 64? I don't remember exactly, but there was a bunch of games, and the art style was very much like what was it, Treasure Island or Monkey Island or something like that. I can't remember. Gazoo says 3DO. Was it 3DO? I don't really remember exactly all the details. I just remember that the games were so bad that Nintendo yanked the license away and refused to work with any third party on a Nintendo first party game ever again until recent years when they started doing these movies. So, he says just a guess. But yeah, um, those games have been vaulted, never to be released from the vault, never to be acknowledged by Nintendo ever again. And most Zelda fans agree that that's probably the right action, the right course of action.
Pay no attention to those games behind the curtain. No problem.
Anyways,
Anywho.
but yes, it was a PC platform. I think it was Commodore 64. Did that have a CD drive?
I don't know. I've never seen a Commodore 64 in real life.
Oh, well, okay. Anyways, moving on in this timeline, we're coming up on our 10-minute remaining mark. I think, yes, I can actually finish these last few. So in the timeline, these two points right here do not have games that directly center around these two points in the timeline. As I keep saying, these marks right here are references to points in legend or lore drops that happen before or after games. So when you go through,
They're the legend that Zelda's always talking about.
right, actually, very much correct. So after Echoes of Wisdom, the next game in the story is the original Legend of Zelda. And in the original Legend of Zelda, you have a bunch of, you must read it to understand the story kind of points. Like they'll have this beginning game scroll of an introduction, or they'll have different books and bookcases and stuff, and you'll read them, or different notes, and you'll read them, and it'll talk about these points where the monarchs of Hyrule, they use the Triforce, and it brings about this golden era. But at the end of this golden era, there's a it's called the tragedy of Zelda, of Princess Zelda the First. The very first Princess Zelda fell ill through some magic plague or other, and I don't remember the full story. It was dang near 30 years ago, so forgive me if I don't. And it triggered, it's called the Era of Decline officially, but it triggered this decline of the kingdom because she was one of the uh, last monarchs to rule over the Golden Era, and she as she kind of declined in health, so too did the kingdom decline in quality of life. She wasn't able to exert her influence as well to keep her people or her guards or whatever in check, to keep the evil from spreading when bad things happen. So yes, that brings about the game Legend of Zelda, and the great evil wizard that is trying to revive the great evil that is Ganon. Bring him back from the nightmare realm, the twilight realm, the shadow realm, the realm of evil, the different things that it's been labeled over the years. And then after that is the sequel, which is called the Adventure of Link, or Zelda 2, where the resurrection actually happens. He's defeated, and then another evil wizard comes along to try and resurrect him again. But Link actually manages to prevent the resurrection. And that concludes the
The defeated timeline.
the hero defeated timeline, or the hero never appeared timeline, whichever you
The
choose.
thing that made the most about the adventure of Link was the fact that it was a how did you it was arcade-esque in that there was no save.
Mm-hmm.
There was no like if you stop the game now, you have to start from the beginning again. And that made that particular playthrough very painful because I think I bought it on, like, they put out a re-release on DS, I think. And I tried playing it on that, and I did not have a happy time.
Oh, here we go. Oh my God, I am so old. I remember those all too well, including the Epson. I feel your pain, Mojo. And then Soda says, me too. And then she goes, I'm gonna go cry my tears of Dustin now in my corner. What the Then Mojo says she's talking about the Commodore 64 with the C64 with the CD, and then 3.5 disc and the CD. There's a YouTube channel I watch, and he's trying to buy a Commodore. Oh Lord. Radon Isram Tandy 2000 cassette drive. Oh Lord. I believe there's still a store called Her Drunk His Treasure, and a few years ago they had okay. Amiga 500. Oh my God, the Amiga. I remember the Amiga. Woo! I think I had one. Anyways, we've got roughly 5 minutes remaining, Mariner. So to wrap up this stream of consciousness, what are your thoughts on the things we've covered so far? I feel like you've not had as much input as you should have, Mariner.
Yeah, it's been like I haven't played all of these games, and I haven't looked at the lore. I need to spend some time reading up on the lore some, and then I got to get back into playing the games that are available via Switch. Because
It's
like I said, I got stuck on the N64 game. I forget what it's called.
It's Ocarina of Time. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
like
if you can force your brain into understanding the dynamic shift from overhead 2D to over the shoulder 3D, then I think you'll be in for a treat. There's a reason why, arguably, the majority of Zelda fans will point at the Ocarina of Time as like the penultimate Zelda game because it kicked off, well, honestly, it kicked off the present era of Zelda. Uh, it's inspired the full open world 3D genre of the Zelda series. Zelda will always jump back to the somewhat the three-quarter overhead view, playing as Link to run around a giant map effectively. It will always jump back to that, but every couple of games they will go into this full 3D mode and you'll get real grand slams, in my opinion. You like Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom.
two other games that I own now and have yet to get played.
Well, Breath of the Wild is a lot more like Ocarina of Time than the others, and Tears of the Kingdom is a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild, so its impact is not as big as Breath of the Wild. But Breath of the Wild, when you start playing that, there's a reason I was able to put 380 hours into that game. So,
We'll see. I'll have to force myself. I'll have to figure out some time to try and get that game played before we get to covering it on the stream of consciousness. I did get a little. I did play for I want to say an hour, but I'd like going. I'm gonna see what this is like if I don't have any game guides at all. And
oh.
immediately I was like, I need a game guide for this.
So there's a lot
Like
of
I got out of the tomb or whatever it is, and I'm like, okay, I could literally go in any direction, but which direction should I go in? So I think I ended up meeting the old man on the hill who talked about something in the distance, and like going, that's probably where I should head. But it's
okay.
one of those things where it's like I'm probably gonna get like Fallout, and every 5 steps I'm getting a side quest pop up or something like that. So I'm like,
It's not as insane as that, but it is a game where once you leave the starting zone, you very much can complete the game in any order, and you could also technically run to the very end of the game, and if you're good enough, fight the final boss.
hmm,
It's one of those games where you don't have to complete all the content. Advisable if you do, but you don't have to. Like
gotcha.
I actually saw a playthrough where a guy literally got the hang glider and went straight to the end game content to fight the final boss with, well, basically he was running around in his skivvies and he just used the freaking uh the Sheikah slate, the abilities from the Sheikah slate, which is the bombs, and there's a couple other things that he used to fight the final boss. And it's exponentially harder because completing the whole game, all of the dungeons, it debuffs the final boss. So it's
Ah,
significantly easier. And then
okay,
there's also the other things like getting all the backstory and lore as to what happened and why Link was in the tomb to begin with.
gotcha. Well, I'll have to figure out some time and get myself into those games again, so I can contribute better.
Ah,
Now
of
your
course.
kitty's talking.
Yep, now
But in the
it's talking.
meantime, it is time to wrap things up.
All right, so go
So,
ahead and start with your shameless plugs, and when you're done, I'll do my shameless plugs.
so I will be returning tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern time to continue with Satisfactory, and I'll talk about I'll talk about the modding situation with that because we ran into a little issue yesterday, and then but anyways, I'll be back there playing that game tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern time. Then I'll be on Lagging Out channel. Well, Hiro is now playing more Satisfactory. We are in the final push to try and get Phase 5 completed and the said game completed so that I can start all over again with a brand new save file and more mods.
Also,
And then I'll be
tomorrow on our channel, on Lag and Out's channel, we will have, we have a returning streamer. She has been streaming the last couple of weeks. She is back playing Awakening of the Clone Wars, I believe it's called. It is a mod for, I can't remember. I'm terrible. I am so sorry. Anyways, it's a strategy game that's Star Wars related. Just remember that. Um, I believe she starts at 7 or 7:30 and then plays this is Eastern time and then plays for about 2 to 3 hours. Then we will be back on Lagging Out's channel as Lagging Out Podcast. Yeah, no, not Knights of the Old
oh,
Republic.
I made that mistake the other night.
Empire
Empire
at
at
War.
War.
Thank you, Kaori. By the way, she is talking in the chat if y'all want to meet her. But we will be back as the Laganel podcast this Friday. Maybe Rogue Penguin will make an appearance. I'm going to go ahead and ping on her and ask her if she's joining us this week. Also, check us out on laganout.com. We have several stream recap articles if you missed a show or if you just don't feel like watching us and just want to read about what we talked about. This past week, ironically, was the article written because, well, it was me writing the article, so of course I did. There was a little bit about some Zelda controversy. Ooh, what could have been the controversy? Well, it's more rumor mongering. So there's going to be a live
Yeah,
action Zelda movie. There was
was
a bunch of
rumored to be.
rumors about it, and Chieftain was trying to bait me into a rage fit over it to no success because he was just trying to mess with me. But if you want to see what I said about it, check out the article on laganout.com.
Please comment as well.
Yes.
But I think that is all. We've run a couple of minutes over, but that's fine. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow. Deep Dive Gaming, if you're watching on Twitch or on the Lagging Out Twitch, Deep Dive Gaming is my channel. I hope to see you there. In the meantime, um, let's see. Yeah. Until next time, enjoy Zelda, whichever Zelda is your favorite. Go enjoy Zelda.
That's right.
Um, fair winds and fun gaming, people. Bye
Fair winds
bye.
gaming. Later, guys. This is Hiro and the Mariner signing off and lagging out.